Welcome to Christian Statesman. I'm your host, Zach Wagner. Today, we're going to talk about Episode 5, Security or Liberty. In January of 1775, Benjamin Franklin was in England attempting to negotiate differences between the colonies and the Crown. One meeting brought forth a famous and oft-quoted bit of wisdom when Franklin stated, "They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." In light of our recent problems with the COVID pandemic, Franklin's words echo throughout time and deserve due consideration. The origins of COVID are not a subject to be addressed here. Suffice it to say that its origins are suspicious, and if we look at the pandemic's behavior across diverse populations and countries, we will see huge standard deviations in terms of lethality and treatment. The numbers could be produced to easily make the argument that the virus was not a natural occurrence, as some media sources state. But it is our policy towards the virus that is even more concerning than the virus itself. Let us all agree the virus is problematic, and let us agree that it is lethal to certain demographics. But let us also agree that the lethality of the virus is not universal. Death rates of people under 30 look nothing like the rates of victims over 70. There is definitely a trend pointing to multiple comorbidities as being more dangerous than the virus on its own to anyone who might come down with it. Experts could sit at opposite ends of the table and argue these things all day, all week, all year long. Regardless of how we think the virus may or may not affect us or the ones we love, the great question hangs over our head. Does anyone have the right to suspend our constitutional liberties under the guise of keeping us, quote, safe from infection, unquote? A U.S. District Judge named William Stickman might have just set the proper tone. He recently declared Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf's COVID lockdowns as unconstitutional. The judge ruled that Wolf violated multiple aspects of the Constitution after he had implemented orders requiring people to stay home, limiting the size of gatherings, and ordered non-life-sustaining businesses to close. This example should be a template for the rest of the country. There are numerous states that, at the behest of their governors, are severely restricting constitutional rights, all in the name of safety. The right to assemble, worship, the avenues of commerce are all being locked down to allegedly prevent further spread. This is a game with no winners, and Judge Stickman's precedent needs to sweep the nation. A one-size-fits-all answer to the pandemic simply does not work. What is dangerous to the aged grandmother in a rest home may pose no threat at all to the child in elementary school. Thus, it is up to individuals to choose to comply with common-sense measures. It is a looming, growing disaster to impose such unreasonable restrictions on our rights with an expectant positive outcome. When we remove rights, shut down businesses, restrict people's movements and associations, and tear at the economic and social fabric of our country, we can readily conclude that the solution is far worse than the problem. And indeed, the economic fallout alone from past shutdowns and impending further interruptions will certainly yield a cost far more terrible than the disease ever could. There's currently a movement in Michigan to impeach Government Whitmer over her ignorance of a Michigan Supreme Court order overturning her lockdown mandates. There is a serious uprising in California as Governor Newsom forbids churches to open but still allows casinos to operate. He actually has no legal right to do either. We cannot stand by and allow our liberties to be sacrificed on the altars of supposed safety. Every citizen needs to peacefully inform their leadership that such nonsense will not be tolerated. As noncompliance builds, perhaps some of these self-enlightened governors and mayors will get the hint. We do not need safety at the price of our natural rights. We are, after all, wise enough to protect the vulnerable from COVID without being mandated to suspend our very lives. If you enjoy our content, please click on the subscribe button below and tell your friends. This is Zach Wagner, wishing you all a blessed day.